A very good morning to all. I hope you all are staying safe. I welcome you on behalf of India Wellness Team. We started our Mind Strong journey in June 2020, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for showing immense support to us. It's an honor for us today to welcome Sister Shivani, who's going to talk to us on being mind strong. BK Shivani is a practitioner of Raj Yoga meditation of the Brahma Kumaris for over 22 years. Her practical application of spiritual principles on the TV program Awakening with Brahma Kumaris for over 12 years has empowered people to overcome issues of emotional distress, depression, and relationship conflicts. In March 2019, she was awarded the prestigious Nari Shakti Puraskar, the highest civilian honor for women in India, for her role in transforming human behaviors. She has been appointed as Goodwill Ambassador by the World Psychiatrist Association, and she is an electronics engineer from Pune University. I request you all to join me in welcoming Sister Shivani.
Thank you. Om Shanti and good morning. First and foremost, I must congratulate you for having such a lovely title there as Mind Strong, because it's something that we've started thinking about. For the last couple of days, for the last couple of decades, we were focused more on the body strong, the body healthy. So physical health, which is very important, was a priority. Professional health, of course, had become the first priority. But for the last few years, we've started realizing that mental health is becoming a crisis. Before COVID, we're not talking during and now, but before COVID also, mental health was a crisis. And India is number one in depression in the world. And we're definitely not the country with all the resources we have and the family units we have. We're not the country who should be high numbers of depression. And then came COVID and the numbers rose. And so there's definitely a concern that it's not just our age group, but it is children who are getting affected. It's the youth who's getting affected. And so the important question is, when we are working so hard, when we're doing so much, and if anybody had to ask us, why are you working so hard? We'll say for my happiness and my family's happiness and health. And we have been working very, very hard for them. But what if this is what we're seeing as a result? Then some dimension is missing, and that is what we need to start taking care of. And that's why mind strong is really the perfect word, which just explains it all. When we say mind strong, we're not talking about mental health actually, because most of us will say that I am mentally healthy because I do not have any symptom of depression or anxiety attack or panic attack or anything more than that. So, yes, most of us are mentally healthy. Most of us are physically healthy. But what we need to check is, how is my emotional health? There are doctors for physical health, there are tests for physical health, there are doctors and counselors for mental health. But when it comes to emotional health, we will have to do our checking, we will have to do our own healing, and we are the ones who will have to keep it healthy always. There's not going to be anyone else who's going to do this. If we take care of our emotional health, then we do not need to fear ever touching a mental health issue. If we take care of our emotional health, we do not need to fear ever touching a mental health issue. So, yes, WHO is talking a lot about mental health, and they're saying, okay, prioritize mental health, invest in mental health. Yes, because it's a crisis. But what we need to do is invest in emotional health so that mental health is taken care of. So, emotional health is like a preventive measure for good mental health. Now, how do we check emotional health? And that's where mind strong. Let's take a few basic criteria. Close your eyes. Just close your eyes. Take this minute of silence and keep ranking your emotional health. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is lowest emotional health, 10 is perfect emotional health. Just rank yourself. You're not going to tell this to anybody, it's just for you. But once you know where it is, it becomes very easy to start taking care of our mind, because taking care of the mind, though people believe it's very difficult, it's actually the simplest thing to do. The simplest thing to do is to take care of the mind, provided we start taking care of it. Then it's the simplest thing to do. So just close your eyes and I'll just share a few parameters. Of course, there are many, but we'll just take a few and just evaluate yourself. So be detached and see yourself as if you're seeing somebody else. You know, when it comes to evaluating other people's behaviors and personalities, we're very good at it. We know exactly how people are around us. We know our spouse, we know our children, we know our colleagues, we know our friends, because we focus on them throughout the day. Yes, I. We have to focus on ourselves right now. So just close your eyes. First criteria for emotional health: the way I respond to every situation and person's behavior. Am I the master, the creator of my response? Or do I respond based on the situation and people's behavior? Am I emotionally independent, which means I choose my response and my response is completely my choice and my creation? Or the way I respond or react depends on how the situation was. If the situation is perfect, I am perfect. If the situation or people's behavior is not the way I want it to be, then reacting is normal for me. Irritation, anger, worry, fear, insecurity, any of these reactions which are in response to a situation or people's behavior. So this is emotional independence. And if my response is dependent on them, then I'm emotionally dependent. I'm emotionally dependent on the outer world for how I feel here. First criteria. Throughout the day, most of the time, am I emotionally independent or am I emotionally dependent? Do I take personal responsibility of how I feel, or do I blame people and situations for how I am feeling? Second, what is a predominant part of my personality? Gratitude or complaining? Majority times, complaining again about situations, people, current situation, weather, my health, myself. Gratitude or complaining, which is the frequency I live in most of the time. What is the percentage that I am critical or judgmental about other people? Judgmental about other people or accepting people the way they are? Accepting means my mind does not think too much about them. I instruct, I advise, but I don't keep on thinking in a critical manner about people. This is not how they should be, this is how they should be. How much ever you tell them, they don't learn. When will they change? Waiting for them to change. How I feel about myself, is it dependent on what people believe about me? Which means my feelings here, are they dependent on what people feel or say about me? Do I need appreciation, acknowledgement, endorsement, motivation from people. So, am I needing these things to feel good? Or I am very high in self respect. People can criticize me, and I know where I stand. I learn and I move forward, but I do not get disturbed by criticism. Self respect. So, is it self respect or is it dependent on people? Do I get affected by what people say about me? Do I do things just so that I get people's approval? It could be very simple things. The way I dress up, what I eat, what I drink, the way I live, the way I work, the way I party, lot of things. Are they dependent on people's approval? Last, for the time being, am I in the race? Am I competing with people? Do I always have this desire of wanting to go ahead of someone else? Or am I focused only on my journey? And I work very, very hard to get better than myself? Or is my priority to go ahead of other people? Am I happy when others do well? Am I happy when they are appreciated? Competition. Is this my belief system that competition is natural? Okay. Thank you. You can do this again another time. You can do it again tonight. You can do it again on the weekend. Because every time that you will look at yourself, it's going to get a little deeper. Deeper in the sense you will get to know about yourself, those dimensions which we never paused to look at. We didn't pause to change it because we were just running, believing that whatever is going on here is dependent on the world outside. And so we were working extremely hard to make our world perfect. Because if my world is perfect, I will be happy. And my world meant my body should be perfect, my relationship should be perfect, my work should be perfect, where I am in my career should be perfect, the traffic on the road should be perfect, the country should be perfect. Everybody, everything needs to be perfect, the weather needs to be perfect, everything needs to be perfect for me to be happy. So I was working very hard to create a perfect world. And while creating this perfect world, because we didn't take care of our mind, we created uncomfortable emotions. Uncomfortable emotions like stress, anger, anxiety, fear, worry, criticism, complaining, not being able to forgive people, not being able to forget easily. Thinking too much, overthinking is again a sign of emotional health weak. I made these uncomfortable emotions my creation here. It would have been fine had we realized that this is an uncomfortable emotion and we would have changed it, which is means I know what is normal for my body, what is not. And when I see something which is not normal, whether it's fever, whether it's cold and cough, whether it's a blood pressure, whether it's a sugar level, I know what's normal, what's not. I will immediately start taking care of my body. What did we do? Not as an individual, but as a society. As a society, what we did is we labeled all these uncomfortable emotions as normal. As normal. If those of you who belong to an era 20, 30 years back, when we were in school and college, stress was not an emotion. Stress was only a word in physics, and the definition was stress is equal to pressure divided by resilience. Pressures have increased in the last 2 decades, no doubt about it, but that's only the numerator. Denominator is resilience, inner power to face that pressure. So, what has happened in the last 2 decades? Numerator increased, denominator not taken care of. If not taken care of, started reducing, stress factor increased. Increased to such an extent that we said stress is normal. If somebody had to say today, I don't get stressed at all, then people are going to look at him and say, क्या बात है? Normal नहीं हो क्या? या काम नहीं चल रहा या नौकरी चली गई है, how can you not get stressed? So that's the world we are living in, that these are labeled as normal, and if someone says I'm stress free, I never get angry, there's nothing to worry about, I'm not in a competition, I cooperate and I care with people, people are going to say ye normal nahi hai. And these are the belief systems with which we are growing up our children, Fear is normal, worry is normal. This is a life of emotional dependence. One, we are dependent on situations and people, we believe, for creating our emotions, and so we just react. It's like we're just reflecting energy. This is the energy of the situation, and I just reflect it again. This is the energy of a person, and I reflect it again. I'm not creating anything of my own. I'm just reacting to situations. And because I'm not using my own ability to create a response which has nothing to do with the quality of the situation, my ability to be able to think right has started reducing, and I need the world to be right. If I start taking care of my mind, emotionally strong, then there will be a crisis outside, but we will be calm inside. There can be a person outside, very rude, wrong behavior, wrong practices at work. I will work with them. I will use anything that I have to do in terms of discipline, instruction, but I will not react here. I will not get hurt if someone says a word which is not as per my way. I will not have expectations. I will be more a giver in my life if I'm taking care of my emotional health. So, first, we blamed situations and people and we created that emotional illness. All these are an emotional illness. But the bigger mistake was to call that emotional illness as normal so that nobody is taking care of it. Nobody. They said, ये तो normal है, गुस्सा करना तो normal है. And by labeling all of them normal, we allowed our mind to create these emotions on a daily basis. So then, happiness is something we wanted. Peace is something we are seeking. Love is something we want from people. Respect is something we want from people. So, everything that was emotional health, we want from people and situations. Emotional illness is what we are creating. And 20 years or more of creating these on a daily basis, many times in a day, for many, most of the time of the day, this emotional health started tipping down. So it's like a battery, which has now come to probably 20 or 30%. And then, if there is a situation in my life, or sometimes not even a situation, then there are chances that I tip off to a mental health issue. That's when I tip off to a mental health issue. Either there is a situation in my life, either it's one of my genetic factors, or there's a vitamin deficiency. I will tip off to a mental health issue, but it is mostly because I was not emotionally in my best of health. So, first and foremost, for a strong mind, let's stop calling uncomfortable emotions as normal. How do we know that these are uncomfortable emotions? Because these have an effect on the body and our body doesn't feel comfortable. So these are the uncomfortable emotions. How does your body respond when you get angry? How does your body respond when you're stressed or worrying? Measure your pulse rate, measure your BP at that time. It's not normal. Some of us get a dry mouth, eerie feeling in the stomach when we have to give an interview or give a public talk. Hands start sweating. This is not normal. None of these physical symptoms were normal. But we are able to see it at a physical level. But we have to be able to start seeing it here. Even after seeing it at a physical level, we said, ये तो normal है, ठीक हो जाएगा थोड़ी देर में. And we allowed ourselves to create those unhealthy emotions. So it's time to take a U-turn. And that is what COVID has taught us. The biggest lesson that has come from COVID is, had we been emotionally strong before COVID, then COVID would have only been a physical health issue, which most of us are at home, safe, protected. But one situation, COVID, second situation, lockdown, and there's been a huge rise in mental health issues in the country, in relationship issues in the country, and of course, must be in the world. John Hopkins University of Business, they have recently given a statistics which says emotional well-being of those countries. Emotional well-being has come down by 74% during COVID. COVID had nothing to do with emotions. COVID had nothing to do with the mind. COVID was all about body. It was all about physical health. But because we were not emotionally healthy before COVID, and then came a situation which I didn't have answers about, there was insecurity, my emotional and mental health started getting affected. So, the biggest lesson from COVID is, because if now we don't pick up this lesson, then we might just go back to our old ways of living. So when everyone's talking about new normal, actually it's not new normal. We need to go back to normal. It's not new, it's the original normal which we had left. We have to go back to our normal. And the normal is that we start taking care of the mind. We stop calling uncomfortable emotions as normal. Once you start saying this to yourself, anger is not normal, calm and stability is normal. People will make mistakes. People will not do things my way. Many people will not be my way. I still have to take charge of them. I still have to get work done. I still have to discipline them, but remaining emotionally healthy, not at the cost of my emotional health. So you will speak to them, you will say what you have to do, but you will not react, you will not create negative, critical thoughts, and definitely not loud language, because that's depleting the mind, depleting the physical health. So then we start working on our anger. We have no smoking zones now in public places. We have offices as no smoking zones. Many places are now no plastic zone. So good, we're taking care of the environment, we're taking care of the health. Why not make our office a no anger zone? Let's start making our office a no anger zone, especially since all of you are doing so much for the happiness of your company, your people, and taking care of the minds. Let's make the office a no anger zone, which means no one can use anger as the method to get work done or to discipline people. Strict, yes. Discipline, yes. Assertive, yes. Anger, no. Anger, no. So if we remove anger from our workplace, we've also removed fear and humiliation that comes with it. So let's start these practices. And then once we start doing it at work, we can start doing it at home. Okay, whatever we have to say, it can be said respectfully, in a dignified manner, taking care of my emotional health, my physical health, and the health of people around me. Now I get work done. Now, this is not new normal, this is normal. This is normal. This will be conserving our emotional immunity. We're all concerned about our physical immunity now. Best of diets, best of exercise will not be able to give us physical immunity if we're not taking care of the emotional immunity. Fear is a predominant emotion which affects the physical immunity. So I have to take care of the emotional immunity along with taking care of the physical immunity. So one practice from today, which is very simple, very, very simple, but it will take time. So we just have to keep practicing it. Do not blame people and situations for how you feel, because it's not true. It's not true. Same situation, five people create different responses. Same issue at home, four people create different responses. One is extremely worried, the other one doesn't worry at all. So why different responses to the same situation? Because situation is the pressure, but the denominator, resilience, is different for different people. So every day, remind yourself many, many times in the day, I am the creator of my every thought, my feeling, my word, and my behavior. This should be our mantra, which we recite many, many times in the day, which means which we keep reminding ourselves. I am the creator of my every thought, my feeling, my word, my behavior, taking personal responsibility of the self. Now, situation may not be perfect. I am the creator of my every thought, feeling, word, and behavior, and I will respond in a way which is healthy for me and healthy for people around me. And when I am healthy, people around me are healthy, productivity of the organization will increase many, many times. Many, many times. So the first equation, I am the creator of my every thought, feeling, word, and behavior, which means even if you react, which means even if you get angry or you say something which you later on realize this was not right, never mind. Just don't say, oh, it was because of them. No, I created this. This is power. We're going through Navratri time. It's Shakti, it's power, it's divinity. When we say invoking the Shakti, it is invoking the Shakti which is our original quality. Power within. Power within. So even if I react, I have to immediately sit back and say, I created this. Do not justify your uncomfortable emotions. The mind will give you a lot of excuses, but उन्होंने ऐसा किया, but ऐसा हुआ. No, जो भी हुआ, my reaction is my reaction. The world is not in my control. I only need my mind to be my way. If my mind is my way, everything is taken care of. So, second, no endorsing or justifying your reactions or uncomfortable emotions. Don't say it's natural to worry, we're going through such times. No, we're going through such times in which emotional stillness and toughness is most important. It's like child going for an exam. Just before the exam, would you tell your child, don't worry, relax, be calm, then you will do well? The child will say, oh, but it's natural to worry. The parent will say, no, if you worry or get stressed, then your performance will get affected. So we know it all. We know it all. So, second, no justifying or endorsing our uncomfortable emotion or behavior. Taking responsibility, I reacted like this. Visualizing on the mind how I will respond to the same situation another time. Rewind the whole scene on your mind and then see yourself responding another way. Visualize it, allow it to get programmed here. People visualize their performances. We will visualize our performance here. How I have to perform in the way I respond. Not just perform in my career, in my work, in my goals of my profession. My emotional health goals need to be visualized. Third, do not call any uncomfortable emotion as normal and start calling the comfortable feelings as normal so that your mind will immediately start gravitating towards that. Immediately, when you start teaching your mind, gratitude is normal, compassion is normal, cooperation is normal, forgiveness is the simplest thing to do. Start teaching your mind. The mind has to learn a different vocabulary. It will take a little time because we taught it a different vocabulary last few years. We will start teaching it again. It's a new vocabulary. You know how we teach our children languages? At the age of 2, 3, 4, a child learns 2 or 3 languages. How? We just say a word, ask the child to repeat it, then say it again, ask the child to repeat it, say it about 8, 10 times. The child has learnt the word. Within 6 months, the child knows a complete vocabulary, a complete language, which the child will use for a lifetime. If we can teach a 2, 3-year-old child a language which will be used for a lifetime, we can teach our mind a language which will then create the foundation of a very healthy lifetime. Healthy lifetime. So let's start gravitating the mind towards the comfortable feelings and emotions. Even if people around us have a different vocabulary, they'll have a different vocabulary. We will be the one to create the shift. So now, let's take up simple lifestyle habits which will start building up this emotional health. big situations, big issues in our life. These are big issues: stress, anxiety, anger, fear. This is big issue because this is what is leading to even disease in the body. When the doctor says lifestyle disease, lifestyle is not just about eating, drinking, sleeping. Life is here. And what's the style of this life? To think, speak, behave, work, and live. That is lifestyle. That is lifestyle. So, for my mind to be happy, for my body to be healthy, for my relationships to be beautiful, because every thought we create radiates to people. Our relationships are an exchange of energy, are an exchange of vibrations. Relationships are not about what we are doing for each other. Relationships are also not about what we are saying to each other. Relationships are about how we are thinking and feeling for each other. How is my every thought for my spouse, for my children, for my colleagues? How is my every thought? Now, if we look at it superficially, we'll say, oh, I never think wrong about anybody. It's not about thinking wrong. It's about being critical, judgmental. It's about worrying. It's about being jealous. These are negative thoughts. These radiate to people and they become the foundation of our relationship. So, our relationships are created here. If you start taking care of the mind, you will be able to heal the most complex and complicated relationships. You will be able to heal relationships which have got entangled over the last few years. You'll be able to heal it as if nothing had happened. So it's the mind which is creating the relationships, and it's the mind which is influencing the environment. Our thoughts vibrate, it's in the air, and it influences the air, the water, the fruits, the vegetables, the animals, the birds, everything. Environment is created here from our emotions. So if we take this little of taking care here, emotional health, mental health, physical health, social health, environmental health, and of course, professional health. It's the mind who creates all the work. Everything will be taken care of. So when there are these big issues, so many big issues now in all these aspects, we think there are some big solutions. There are not big solutions for big issues. Sometimes the solution is very, very small, but it has to be done on a daily basis to be able to resolve the big issues of our life. Simple solutions. What we're going to start doing from today. And it's so easy that you can go home and teach your 5-year-old children to do the same, because then you'll help them to build their emotional health right from now. We're going to change our vocabulary to a high vibrational vocabulary. The word that we've heard often, it's affirmations. Affirmation means any thought, any word repeated. We could have negative affirmations. We can shift to pure and positive affirmations. And when we create these affirmations and use them repeatedly, after some time, those positive affirmations become our natural way of thinking. They'll become our natural vocabulary. And when they become our natural vocabulary, they will influence our family and colleagues to start speaking and thinking another way. Why positive affirmations? Because our thought is what is creating our destiny. Our thoughts are creating our destiny. So, simple lifestyle habits. First thing in the morning. The first hour of the morning is extremely important. Extremely important. What many of us have started doing, which has a deep impact on the mind, is to check our phones first thing in the morning. So now just check yourself. Do you look at the phone first thing in the morning? Just because it's lying next to us and we just pick it up, half eyes open, and we start scrolling. Even though it's just for 5-7 minutes, we will glance through things. But even in those 5-7 minutes, we've consumed the world onto our mind. If I want to be emotionally independent, then I cannot consume the outside world onto this inside world first hour of the morning. Cannot. Cannot. Because if I consume the outside world onto my inside world, then my inside world will have the same emotion as the outside world. And then my inside world will react with that same emotion throughout the day. And I will not be able to become emotionally independent. Strong mind. First hour of the morning, the mind is like a blotting paper, slept very well. absorption power is highest. I need to take a healthy emotional diet. To have a strong mind, healthy emotional diet. What is emotional diet? What we watch, what we read, and what we listen. What we watch, what we read, what we listen is who we become. What we watch, what we read, what we listen is who we become. So, emotional health is based on what we watch, what we read, what we listen, what we consume from the world. Now, why 20-30 years back stress levels were just थोड़ी सी टेंशन कभी हो जाती थी, डिप्रेशन तो हमें पता ही नहीं था. So why all that? Because the watch, read, listen was not the way that it is now. It was an era without mobiles, without internet, without television for many of us, without phones for many of us. So the watch, read, listen was a completely different quality. It was only parents, teachers, some good books, and one newspaper. Then came our first television set with one episode of one serial on a Sunday, then going to the next Sunday, Monday, going to a next Monday. That's how media exposure started. And then in the last 10-20 years, 24 by 7 media, 24 by 7 internet, 24 by 7 social media, 24 by 7 digital content platforms. So look at where we went to in terms of the watch, read, listen, the content consumption. And that is the primary reason for our emotional health. Primary. So we cannot stop the content, but we can choose what to consume, when to consume, and how much to consume. What to consume, when to consume, and how much to consume. So first thing in the morning, 2 hours are very, very important on what to consume. The first hour of the morning and the last hour before we go to sleep. The first hour, this blotting paper will absorb all what we consume. It will influence throughout the day. The last hour, this blotting paper will consume. It will influence the way we sleep. And I heard you already had sessions on sleeping, so I'm not going in the detail of that. But what you consume just before sleeping is going to decide your quality of sleep. Quality of sleep, not quantity of sleep, quality of your sleep. So first hour of the morning, it's just a little de-addiction. We started feeling, no, it's very important to check the first phone first thing in the morning. No, just assume you wake up 1 hour later. So if you wake up at 5, look at your phone at 6. 6, look at your phone at 7. Now, first hour of the morning, no consuming work communication, work emails, work messages, first thing in the morning. No. Why? The mind needs to be energized, to start preparing for how the mind is going to work throughout the day. The mind does not need to be at work at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's the primary thing that has happened since the time we had technology. When we didn't have phones, when we didn't have laptops and all, once we are at home, we are at home. Nobody can connect with us. But now, till we go to sleep, the mind is at work. First thing when we wake up, the mind is at work. Sunday, Saturday, doesn't matter, the mind is at work. Dasera, Diwali, doesn't matter, the mind is at work. Holidays, doesn't matter, the mind is at work. So if this mind is at work always, even if I wake up at 2 or 3 in the middle of the night, I still check my phone. Mind is at work. So if the mind is at work constantly, then where is it going to get that space, that gap to rest, to recharge, to energize, and to build up this emotional health? So have cutoff times. Either you can do it as an organization, or you can do it as a team leader. And if nobody wants to do it, just do it as an individual. Don't worry. Don't think people will go ahead of you just because you won't check your phone as first thing in the morning. Don't have tired minds coming to work every day. Tired minds coming to work. If my mind is not fresh and energetic, if my emotional health is not high, then my ability to be creative, to be intuitive, accurate decisions, and of course, adjusting with people, this is going to go low. So if we do it as an organization, it's beautiful. It will be the best gift you can give to people. Diwali gift, Dasera gift, or do it as a leader of the team, or do it as an individual. Cut off times from work, cut off times, which means if I am at work from 8 to 8, then from 8 in the evening to 8 in the morning, I can give myself off from work, off from work. Physically, we're not at work, but we don't want to be emotionally and mentally at work. So at least first hour in the morning, no work communication, no world news, no messages, and definitely no social media checking. First hour in the morning. No consuming the world onto the mind, and no consuming any uncomfortable emotions which the world calls as normal onto the mind first thing in the morning. First few thoughts in the morning should be of gratitude. Gratitude, highest vibrational frequency. What we are in our mind is a vibration. All these uncomfortable emotions are low vibrations. We're going to tune our mind to a higher vibrational frequency first thing in the morning. So, first thought of gratitude to the higher power, thought of gratitude to the mind and body for being healthy, gratitude to family, gratitude to work, gratitude to the people with whom we work, gratitude to nature, Prakriti, the resources. Just 4 or 5 thoughts of gratitude tunes the mind to a higher frequency. If you do this daily, during the day, you will have less to complain about. Your mind will switch towards gratitude and acceptance. You will correct things, but you will not complain. Complaining depletes emotional health. Complaining depletes emotional health. So, first few thoughts of gratitude. Next, create a few affirmations for yourself and repeat those affirmations and visualize them in the morning. For example, for the current scenario, we will say, I am a powerful being is an affirmation. Affirmation means the equation of the affirmation we need to know, and then we'll be able to create any affirmation. Affirmation means create a thought of what you want the reality to be, but create a thought that it has already happened. So I want to become emotionally strong. So I don't say I want to be powerful. The affirmation is I am a powerful being. Visualize that now. I am a powerful being throughout the day with people, with situations, responding my way. Untouched, untouched and not pulled down by people and situations. Visualize this scene. So, affirmation plus visualization is a coding that's happening here. We're teaching our children to start coding at young ages. They have a lifetime to learn all that. Teach them what to code here, what to code here in terms of how to be. We're focusing only on what to do, how to be the human being. So, I am a powerful being is one affirmation. Second, I am a peaceful being, which means I am removing stress and anger and irritation from my life. I am a peaceful being. Third, I am a fearless being. Very important for right now because we're surrounded by vibrations of fear. It's an emotional infection. We don't want to catch it. So we go higher here in our vibration. I am a fearless being. Fourth, my body is perfect and healthy and will always be. My body is perfect and healthy and will always be, which means no creating a thought, what if this happens to me? If we already have some physical health issue, let's say high blood pressure or high sugar, put an affirmation. My blood pressure is normal. This has to become our vocabulary. Why we are saying normal when it's not normal? Because thoughts manifest. That is the power of affirmations. Thoughts manifest. Thoughts and words become our reality when said many times. The Hindi is very beautiful. Sankalp se siddhi. Sankalp and siddhi manifest. If I keep saying I have high blood pressure or I keep believing I have high blood pressure, then that's what the reality will remain. So, yes, the blood pressure is there, but I want to change the reality. I want to go to normal blood pressure. So, I put my affirmation as my blood pressure is normal, my sugar levels are normal. Most important, my body is perfect and healthy and will always be. Current situation and also otherwise, very important affirmation and visualization. God's power and blessings is a circle of protection around me. Create a high energy aura around you and visualize a circle of divine light around you. This is very, very important. Just experiment with this. It's programming here. The highest power vibration is a circle of protection around me. Nothing can enter into this circle. When I create this, nothing can enter into this circle, which means any low vibrations, low energy behaviors, anybody's thinking ill for me or thinking critical for me, it's not going to enter into this circle, which means it won't reach me because I'm radiating a higher vibration there. Create that similar circle of protection for your family, for your children. Schools will open. You have to send your children to school. You can't send them with the thought, will they be safe? Will everything be okay? What if this happens to me? What if this happens to them? No, can't send them with a low energy thought and worry. Create that circle of protection and teach them. Take care, but don't worry. Take care physically, but don't worry. And then create a circle of protection for your work. Create an affirmation for your work, your targets, your goals, your projects. Create an affirmation, which means what you want the outcome to be, you will create an affirmation, it already is. Success is certain for me. Abundance is my reality. Create affirmations. And most important, don't create affirmations only for what to achieve in the world. Create an affirmations for how to be in this world. How to be in this world. So few affirmations, 7, 8 affirmations you create depending on what you want in your life here. You can create a relationship affirmation. Suppose you're having issues with somebody in a relationship. Create an affirmation. This relationship stands on a very strong foundation. We accept each other. We respect each other unconditionally. Just create this affirmation daily and you will start seeing changes happening. So, in the morning, 10 minutes, create your affirmations and visualize them. This is the first stage of meditation. Affirmation plus visualization and seeing it here, you're having a programming done on your mind how you're going to be today. How you're going to be today. During the day, you can repeat your affirmation. It takes only about 20 seconds. Repeat your affirmations at least every hour or 2 hours. Remember how you taught your kids a language? Every 1 or 2 hours you ask them, ये क्या है? बोलो ये क्या है? The child said, oh मुझे मालूम है क्या है? नहीं नहीं फिर से बोलो. Because it is that फिर से बोलो which is going to make it a reality. So repeat that affirmation. 10-20 seconds is all that it needs. Just before going to sleep, cut off time from work communication. Last hour, cut off time from media, content, news. Highest TRP for news channels is early morning and late night, and those are the two times which has not a good impact on the mind. Scroll through print media during the day. That's it. We think we're listening about what's happening in the world, but we are consuming the way it's being said, the emotion with which it's being said, and how it is presented to us starts becoming our reality. So, last hour before we go to sleep, we disconnect from the world communication, content. We keep that last hour for ourselves, for our family. No negative content. First hour in the morning, which was for ourselves, we need to keep at least 20 to 30 minutes in the morning. And don't allow your mind to say, I don't have time. Because emotional health is now not an option of when I have time. It is a priority. It should be mandatory. Initially, it would feel I have to take out time. After some time, you will have more time during the day because the mind is going to be strong. Strong minds think less, they think right, and they take accurate decisions. When my mind is not strong, I think too much. One situation, one stimulus, and I keep on thinking. That's a weak mind. So, a weak mind thinks more, and then by thinking more, I become weaker. So, I need to give nutrition to my mind, emotional diet. So, at least 20 to 30 minutes in the morning, I need to consume pure content, which means not consume the world content, but consume a pure content. Subah ki khurak, diet for the mind. Choose whatever you like. Spiritual study, a positive self-improvement book, a positive video, audio, whatever. but you have to consume content of who you want to become. So, content of faith, compassion, cooperation, love, acceptance, happiness, peace, gratitude, cooperation, content. This has to go in. We can't become this without consuming this. That's certain. We cannot become without consuming it. Even if we do not consume, create a lot of negativity, we're surrounded by negative vibrations. That's emotional infection. So please start taking a good emotional diet. So at least 20 to 30 minutes in the morning and at least 10 minutes in the night before going to sleep. So 10 minutes in the night, if that's your last layer of information, then that's the processing that will happen during your sleep. That will be very deep sleep. Very deep sleep. If my mind consumes turbulent content just before going to sleep, which means work emails, world news, or anything like that, movie, violence, crime, comedy, which is criticizing people, if I consume that kind of content, if I watch serials on digital platforms one after the other, because I need to discuss with my friends next day, I finished watching the complete series. This is taking a toll on our mind. If I consume turbulent content before I go to sleep, then after that only my body sleeps, my mind has a lot to think about. And improper sleep is one of the biggest reasons of emotional health also. So diet and sleep and exercise for the body, similarly diet, sleep and exercise for the mind. Emotional diet, sleep well, and exercise means meditation. Those affirmations, visualizations, that's exercise for the mind. Just before sleeping, last thoughts just before sleeping should be our affirmations. Any affirmations, whatever you create, but those should be your last thoughts just before sleeping. So those will be the thoughts during your sleep. And those thoughts then go deep into the subconscious and become a reality. So first hour of the morning and the last hour before we go to sleep is extremely crucial for emotional health. During the day, restrict how much you are going to consume from the content of the world. Media, social media, मैसेज आफ्टर मैसेज लोग भेजते ही जाते हैं, हम देखते ही जाते हैं, हम कहते हैं हाँ, देन हम फॉरवर्ड करते जाते हैं. That's affecting people's minds. I'm sure most of you must have seen that new documentary, The Social Dilemma. If not, please see it. If you've already seen it, please see it again. Please take notes from it. See what it's trying to teach us. They have created tools which can manipulate our mind. And if my mind gets manipulated, then from where will I have the emotional health? My mind is suddenly remote control with somebody else. And if I start making these daily practices, it's the children who will start adopting them. It will become the culture of the house. You don't need to ask them to do it, they will start doing it. Please remember, they are getting affected the most because they are doing these things from their childhood, what we started doing from the age of 15, 20, or 30. So that the impact is going to be very deep there. So the future is not very bright if we continue living the way we are living with content, the lifestyle. So once you start taking care of your mind, one person has to start doing it at home. Very soon, others will start joining you. Even if they don't join you, your vibrations are radiating healing energy to them. Your vibrations will start strengthening your children. Our emotional health has a direct effect on the emotional health of our children. During the day, take care of what consume content and take care of your physical diet. I'm sure during COVID, most of you must be experimenting with a vegetarian diet. Before you think of switching back to your old normal, please spend some time. Please spend some time online and study. Study what every doctor, nutritionist, therapist has to say about the effect of a non vegetarian diet on the mind, on the body, and of course on the environment, but on the mind and on the body. Most doctors are openly talking about it now that a non vegetarian diet is a large factor influencing our heart disease, diabetes, and many, many cancers. And it also affects the mind because of its vibration. Please study it before you take the decision. Study it. Low vibrations, they are vibrations of pain. They are vibrations of someone's helplessness, anger, fear, hurt, violence, death. They are low vibrations. I have my own low vibrations to heal. I cannot consume low vibrations to what I eat and drink. We are what we eat did not mean the body is what we eat. We are what we eat. You are what you eat was the line. Jaisa anna vaisa man. So please experiment with the vegetarian diet, at least for 3 months. Experiment with the vegetarian diet. You will feel lighter, calmer, physically healthier, and then you will inspire the rest of your family to do so. Please make it a culture at home and for yourself. No screens while eating, which means no phones, no TV while eating. Mindful eating practices, very important for emotional and physical health. Distracted eating, talking on the phone about work, watching the TV, or here with the laptop and eating, better not to eat. Better not to eat. A stressed mind eating is not good for the mind or for the body. In Ayurveda, we are taught that if we eat when the mind is stressed, then that food will become toxic for the body. And that's why, in spite of the best diets, we're still not healthy. Best diets, best treatment facilities, but we are not healthy because of the way we eat, because of what we eat, and because of how it's cooked. Start eating home food more. Keep eating out only a necessity when there is no other option, like a travel. Apart from that, home cooked food. Why was everybody saying during this COVID that how come other diseases, how come people are not going to the hospital for other illnesses? Very, very important factor. People were at home, people were eating at home. People were eating at home. So start making these simple lifestyle changes. No screens while eating, eating home cooked food, not just healthy for the body, very healthy for the mind because it is not cooked for business. Food cooked for business, food cooked at home, and food cooked in the mandir and the gurdwara and the masjid as prasad. It's three different vibrations. Vibrations energize the mind. You can cook prasad at home every single day. Just have high energy words playing in the kitchen. Make it mandatory. Play high energy words in the kitchen, which means prayers, chanting, bhajan, mantra, positive videos, whatever you like. Play high energy words in the kitchen. That's how food is cooked in the place of worship. Your water, your food, your fruits, your vegetables, pulses, everything will get energized. And then you are what you eat. They will energize your mind and body. So have high energy words playing in the kitchen, no screens while eating, and then 10-second pause before you eat. 10-second pause before you eat. Say your gratitude and then say your affirmations before you eat and drink your water. Water memory, please again search online. Water memory, which means water absorbs vibrations. Right now, the water of the city is absorbing the negative emotions of the city of worry and fear. So just keep having the water without energizing it, and you will start creating fear and worry. Pause for 10 seconds. Energize your food and your water by your affirmations. So let that become the predominant energy of the food and water, and then that will become your predominant thought. 10 seconds. 10 seconds. So no one can say, I don't have time. 10 seconds before every meal, 10 seconds before every glass of water, every cup of tea or coffee. Change the energy. Don't just check whether the glass is clean, whether the water is clean. These are only visible factors. Invisible factor is the vibration clean. And so I need to change the vibration before I consume the vibrations of the world. We cannot keep consuming the world. We have to energize ourselves, and only then can we change the world. So strong mind is the simplest thing to do. It's extremely simple. Just those few minutes in the morning, few minutes in the night before going to sleep, these 10 seconds before our every meal, every glass of water, vocabulary of affirmations, practicing emotional independence, not blaming people and situations, taking personal responsibility of our reactions, and then nurturing ourselves to strong emotional, mental, and physical health. And when that's taken care of, relationships, work, and the world is taken care of automatically. Thank you so much. Om Shanti.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shivani. It was indeed a pleasure listening to you. And, personally speaking, I think there are a lot of things that have stuck on to me, specifically the affirmations and the content that I consume early morning. I need to stop doing that. Thank you so much. It was lovely listening to you. We have two questions, and probably I'll take a couple of minutes of your time. One is talking more around discipline. So there's someone who's asked that to bring discipline, it is sometimes necessary to show anger, though the intentions are right.
Intentions are pure, definitely, but method also needs to be right. So it's not just intentions which need to be right, it's also the method which needs to be right. What happens is when we create anger, then it's not only us who's getting depleted, it's the other person who's getting also emotionally depleted, and that's the person whom you want to discipline. So disciplining requires power, you know. Discipline means, let's say very simple, I come late to work. Simple. A child doesn't keep their things in place. They're not neat, they're not tidy. That's their sanskar, it's their habit, it's their nature, and you're wanting them to do it another way. This is not very simple that you just say it to them and that's it, it's done. No, it's their sanskar which is going to take them a little time to change. But for them to change, they need power. And that's why we have to empower people, not deplete people and then ask them to change. If you deplete people and then ask them to change, they may appear to change while you are around them. That means they are only changing out of fear and respect. But when you're not there, they will go back to their old habits. And so you have not achieved your discipline. You have not achieved your pure intention. The pure intention should be achieved. And to achieve that, you have to empower people. You cannot deplete people and then expect them to change. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So, assertive discipline means this is how things are going to be, even disciplinary action if needed. Even disciplinary action if it's needed. But why reaction? Why reaction? What good comes out of it? Only because we've got used to seeing the world suddenly change when they are shouted at. But we also saw so much that changed because we used that method. We use that method. Once you keep creating anger during the day at work, you can't go home emotionally healthy, even if your intentions were right. You depleted your energy. You're going to go home with a negative aura. The person whom you shouted at is not going to think nicely about you during the day. You are receiving their negative energy, their energy of pain and hurt and humiliation. With this depleted aura, you're going to go home in the evening to your family, to your children, and then say, oh, why are my children not as emotionally strong? And then again label school and competition and syllabus for it and say, oh, it's because of their education. No, it's not. It's only because of our emotional health. So this is a lifestyle change. ये बहुत easy है, ये हो जाएगा. Just don't endorse your negative emotions.
Thank you so much. That was indeed very, very actually simple, but of course, slightly difficult for people like us to implement, but we sure would.
Affirmation,
Affirmations,
it's
yes.
affirmation, it's very simple. Don't call it difficult. Difficult is what is becoming the affirmation. You know, it's difficult for me. When I say like that to myself or anything, then the simplest things will become difficult because I put difficult as an affirmation. At least you're saying difficult. People say impossible. So then impossible becomes the affirmation. It's impossible to work without getting angry. So then that becomes a reality. You will see a lot of people around you who are not using anger. How can they get work done without using anger? I can also get it done. I will learn from them. So that's learning. So it's simple.
Thank you. There's another question where someone's trying to understand that in this competitive world, pressure from both personal and professional are quite common, and how to manage time in busy schedule. Anger is one result of it. Please advise. Thank you.
It's not about managing time, it's about managing your energies. You know, we're not short of time, we're short of energy. Let's look at it on a physical level. If I'm physically weak, then everything that I do takes longer, no? And I'm physically dependent. I need someone take me to the other room, help me to get up. It's if I'm physically unwell. The same thing when I'm physically healthy, I'll finish it in 10 minutes, but I'm physically unwell, will take me 40 minutes because I'm physically not fit. Similarly, when I'm emotionally not fit, everything takes longer. I think too much, I react, I deplete my energy, then I feel bad, and all this is going on inside. So I don't come to know that I'm wasting my time. But it's not about time management. We are not short of time. We're living in an era where we have so much technology, so many benefits, which has made our life extremely simple outside. We only need to take care of our energy. Please experiment with removing the affirmation that it's a competitive world. No, this is my journey of my life with my family, myself, and with my work. Work very, very hard, but don't be in a race. You're not in a race, actually. We believe that we are in a race. We only have to perform better and better and better than my own self. So I have to excel. Yes, I have to go better, better than my earlier self, not better than other people, because you never will be able to do that. It all depends on them, what pace at which they are. It's like driving on the road. The aim cannot be to go ahead of other people. It has to be to drive my way, the right way, in the speed limit, and most important, following the rules of the road. So, similarly, following the rules of life at my pace, per my values and principles and ethics, and the way that is comfortable for me and my family. Even if someone's going ahead of you, just think for 1 second. If someone's going ahead of you, but they have chosen to keep that as a priority and they haven't prioritized the other things, you want to go ahead of them, you would also have to stop prioritizing other things. So that's a choice that we have to make. But don't keep racing with other people and then carry the guilt. I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not spending enough time with my family. I'm not spending enough time with my children. पता ही नहीं चला मेरे बच्चे 10 साल के हो गए. थोड़े साल बाद बोलेंगे पता ही नहीं चला मेरे बच्चे तो 20 साल के हो गए. और उसके बाद तो वो उड़ के चले जाएंगे. उड़ के चले जाएंगे. एंड हम रेस में ही भागते रह जाएंगे. रेस में ही भागते रह जाएंगे. So it's not that we are not going to excel, but do not compete with other people. Do not. Do not. That's the biggest reason, cause of stress, and also not being able to prioritize your life your way. Everyone has different priorities, and that's why we cannot race. For somebody, spending time with family is not a priority, not right and wrong, just a priority. So we are not saying right or wrong, priority. Let's live life as per our priorities. For somebody, exercising in the morning is not a priority. Never mind, not right or wrong, their choice. I want to make it my priority. So do not just quit the race. And let's not say it's a competitive world. It's a very beautiful world. We are the ones who are creating all these vocabularies and then troubling ourselves with that same vocabulary.
Thank you so much, Sister Shivani. I have a lot of messages on my phone right now, just trying to pass on the message that people have really found this entire 1 hour very, very fruitful, and so has this entire team sitting over here. We just want to convey our sincere thanks to you, and I'm very, very positive now that these thoughts are going to stay with us for long, and we hope. And I'm sure that we'll be able to practice some of the affirmations very, very strongly here on.
Yeah, and it's very beautiful that you're doing this for your organization. Just keep it in mind. It's not just the people who are working with you who are going to benefit. When you start taking care of them and they start taking care of themselves, the biggest benefit is going to be on the children. We're not even seeing that far actually, but I get to see a lot of children, and a lot. It's not one of those few rare numbers anymore. A lot of children in their school, before their board exam, taking anti anxiety medicines. You think, please think, if a child is having to take anti anxiety medicine before a 10th standard exam or an 8th standard exam, will they really be equipped to face the pressures, the numerator of your corporate professional life or any other challenges that life has? So, whenever you take care of yourself, please remember, you're actually taking care of your children by taking care of yourself. So quit the race for that. Take care of yourself, take care of your children, and the secret is you're going to do extremely well professionally. If you quit the race, you're going to do extremely well, extremely. Even in an actual race, you're not supposed to look at the people running around you. You're supposed to look only straight. You're taught there at the beginning line, don't look here, don't look here, look straight. If in an actual race we're supposed to look straight, तो यहाँ तो कोई रेस ही नहीं है. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Shanti.